Stress, how do we deal with it? Well, this is definitely one way to deal with it. It's not necessarily the best way, it's definitely not the only way. Don't get me wrong, keeping fit is an absolute must in your daily activity. It's good for the heart, good for the body, and in turn, it's good for the mind. But the best way to deal with stress is to know what you want and why you want it. Let me explain. So the three things I want to cover today in this video are as follows. 1. What is stress? 2. Why do we get stressed? And 3. How can we deal with it? But before we go into any of that, I want to establish one very important point, which is this. If we have a problem on our hands, we must acknowledge it. If we don't acknowledge it, we're putting our head in the sand. And in doing so, we won't know where we are. If we don't know where we are, then we won't know where we're going. So with that out of the way, let's go on to the three main points. First point, stress. What is it? Well, it's an internal reaction caused by an external circumstance. This then leads to a lack or loss of control of the situation, which then leads to a further two reactions, panic and brain fog. Brain fog is where there's a complete abandonment of all sensible thought process. This then leads to a lack or loss of direction. This is dangerous territory. We are now in survival mode. The brain is telling the body, get out, get away as fast as you possibly can. Grab at anything. The bigger picture doesn't matter right now. Get back to the cave, get back to safety. And this then leads to a downward spiral where bad and sometimes dangerous decisions can be made, and quite often are. People get stressed for all sorts of reasons, hundreds of reasons, thousands, no, millions of reasons. And every one of those reasons has a backstory. And every one of those backstories is owned by an individual. And we are all individuals. But why? Why do we get stressed? It's because we are allowing our minds to be filled with the things that we don't want, so there is no space for the things that we do want. Let me demonstrate. Jug. So, this here represents our lives, or minds if you wish. And this represents thoughts. In this case, this is a bad thought. So what we're going to do, we're going to fill up our mind with this bad thought. There's no space now for any other good thoughts. So this now is, let's just imagine now, this is a good thought that we wanted to put into our minds. Well, that's not going to happen, is it? We learn this kind of stuff at school in science lessons. If you've got a vessel of some sort, it's full and you want to put more stuff into it, it's just not going to happen. And the same applies to our minds and our lives. If we've got, whether it's a good thought or whether it's a bad thought, if it's full with any of that, then there is no space for the other. I met someone recently who was going through a real tough patch in his life. And he found out that I was doing this vlog and also writing a book on the subject of stress. So he asked me to help. And if I possibly can, I'm more than happy to. So I asked him, what do you want? And he started to tell me about this relationship that he's in. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. Every time I come home, I've got that horrible feeling of dread. I put the key in the lock, turn it, come in, this horrible atmosphere. I don't want this person in my life anymore. He spent a good while telling me all the things that he didn't want. I don't want. And at the end of it, I said, okay, you've just told me everything that you don't want. Now tell me what you do want. And instantly the lights came on. He started to create this future right there in front of us. He was thinking about all the things he wanted to start doing. And in doing so, he knew the problem existed. He knew he had to deal with it. But he was now able to deal with it with a much more stronger mindset. He was creating his future, getting really excited about it, and bringing it into his present moment. By the end of the conversation, he grabbed my hand, shook it, and said, thank you so much. You've just changed the course of my life. I would love to be able to take that kind of credit, but that was nothing to do with me. Well, all I did was help him think slightly differently. But only he could get excited about his future. Only he could see what he wanted and really get excited about it and then bring it into his present moment. Now think of someone that you might know, a work colleague, a friend, or even a member of a family, and think of a situation where they've been present and the shit has hit the fan. Everyone else is panicking, but this one person has a steely-eyed look about them. They're calm, nothing's changed about them. They know exactly what they need to do. They're not panicking, and everybody else starts to follow them. Why is that? It's because this person, they acknowledge that the problem exists, but where their mind is in a place that the solution has already happened. They've fixed their mind on the solution and they are completely calm and happy with the outcome. And they've brought that mindset into their present moment. So they're able to remain calm and they're not getting stressed about it. And that's what leaders are made of. So how do we achieve that kind of mindset? Well, this is where I explain the 3 in 3 challenge, my personal experiment, which I'm going to be a guinea pig in. Let me explain. I've got a bucket list, a list of things that I want to do before my time here on Earth is done. Some of those things are wild and outlandish, others are much more easy to get up and running with, but they are all achievable. I've chosen 3 things from that list that are relatively easy to get prepared for. And those 3 things are as follows. I want to get fit and healthy, I want to learn to play a musical instrument, and I want to speak a new language. And I'm going to spend the next 3 months doing those 3 things. So that's my 3 in 3 challenge. Why am I doing it? Well, firstly, why not? But more importantly, I'll be focusing on goals rather than the dark clouds that come with life's problems. Dark clouds are going to be there anyway, whether I want them to or not. That's just life. But now, so are my goals. Both need to be dealt with. Which one am I going to choose to give all of my energy to, all of my focus to? The one that's going to make me unhappy, miserable, depressed, or the one that's going to get me excited and think about things that are going to make me happy in life? I think the answer's fairly obvious. And as I said, these goals are relatively easy to get up and running with. So let's go and get prepared. So one of my challenges is getting fit and healthy. And that doesn't mean to beast myself until my lungs turn inside out. It's also about what I eat. So let's go and do some shopping. No. Damn it, no bananas. So as I said, the 3 things that I want to do are relatively easy to get up and running with. It's not climbing Everest, I know. Don't get me wrong, I would love to climb Everest, but that would take a lot more preparation than I currently have the time for. So the first thing I want to do is to get fit and healthy. I am currently the most unfit I've ever been in my life, and believe me, I used to be very fit at one point. I want to get fit enough to run 10 miles by the end of 3 months. How am I going to get prepared for that? Pair of trainers. Well, pair of trainers, t-shirts and shorts. It's quite simple. Get up, get dressed, do my stretches, go for a run, warm down, and we're done. The next thing I want to do is to learn to play an instrument. This instrument. This thing has been sat in my loft for years. It belongs to my little brother. So, little bro, if you want it back, you're gonna have to wait for 3 months. And the third thing I want to do is to learn a new language. That language is Spanish. And how am I getting prepared for that? Well, I've got a box set. And I know a box set is not exactly the best way to learn a language, but it's a language. 3 months, let's see how far we can get. I'm not expecting to become a concert violinist at the end of 3 months. I'm not expecting to become an Olympic athlete by the end of 3 months. And I'm definitely not expecting to be able to hold a deep and meaningful conversation with someone in Spain by the end of 3 months. But that's not the point. The point is this. If I can fill up my mind with the things that I want for the next 3 months, then I will have no space for the thoughts that I don't want. And if I can do these 3 things, then I'm sure that anyone can do at least one thing that they want to really achieve and fill up their minds with that one thing so there is no space for the things that I don't want. Remember, acknowledging the problem, flushing away the bad thoughts and filling it up with the good and exciting thoughts, bringing them into the present moment. And that's how you deal with stress. Now, I am not underestimating the problems that we have in life. They exist. That's life. And we have to deal with them. But how are you going to deal with them? Are you going to be a victim where someone is standing on your chest, holding you down, and you're unable to control the situation? Or are you going to stand up, take control of it, and deal with it in the way that you are able to, and you can get excited about something in the future, knowing that this needs to be dealt with, it's done, the bad thoughts don't need to be there because you're too excited about the things that you want to do. I'll be posting weekly updates on my progress, and in that I'll be including hints and tips on how to deal with stress in many different situations. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button next to the subscribe button. That will let you know whenever I've uploaded a new video. And your comments, I'd love to know your comments. If you've got any thoughts, any questions, put them in the comments section below and I'll do my very best to answer them. So that's me for now, and I'll see you next week.